Good day everyone. Today we are diving into a powerful feature that's set to transform the way you manage and leverage your data in the cloud. I'm thrilled to introduce you to the world of data virtualization and the groundbreaking create external table as select or CETAS functionality available in Azure SQL Managed Instance. As the data landscape evolves, so do the challenges of managing and optimizing your valuable information. Imagine a scenario where you have got an Azure SQL managed instance packed with data, say sales, orders, logs, and much more. But not all of it is being accessed frequently. That's where the CETAS steps in. In today's video, we will take a deep dive into one of the most secure and efficient ways to export data into Azure storage using managed identity. Yes, we are talking about the seamless access to Azure storage account using the power of identity-driven authentication. But before we jump into the how-to, let's quickly outline the plan. First, we'll guide you through the essential steps to get started with this feature. Enabling CETAS, preparing your storage account, ensuring network connectivity, and setting up robust security measures are all on our checklist. Then comes the magic. We will show you how to harness the full potential of CETAS as we move data from Azure SQL Managed Instance to an Azure storage container. This data isn't just stored, it's organized, optimized, and made ready for analytics or archival depending on your requirements and needs. Whether you're looking to offload cold data to save costs or distribute shared data sets among tenants, CETAS opens the door to a world of possibilities. Remember, these external tables are read-only, but they are your key to unlocking the potential of your data. So buckle up as we journey through the intricate web of data visualization, managed identity, and CETAS feature. By the end of this video, you will have the knowledge and tools you need to optimize, streamline, and supercharge your data management strategy. We will be using PG-MI-UKS managed instance for this demo. What we'll do is we will be exporting some of the data from a table called table 1 on a database called JBS Wiki from this managed instance onto the storage account, and we'll be utilizing the polybase feature here. So the first thing that we need to do is we basically have to enable this particular CETAS feature, and for that you basically have to enable the option allowPolybaseExport. So that is the one that we need to enable it. So what we'll do now is this is not something you can do it from your TSQL. You will have to use Azure CLI or PowerShell. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the PowerShell console here for this managed instance, and then I'll be enabling this feature. I'll be using this particular script here, the PowerShell script. So you will have to basically provide your subscription ID and then your resource group where your managed instance is located, and also your managed instance name, and then you will have to run it. Make sure you just give the managed instance name, not the full FQDN. Yep. And once you provide all the required details, what you can do is you can execute this particular PowerShell command onto the console that you have opened for managed instance. So I'm just going to do an control. I'm just going to paste it here, and then I'm going to run it. If you want, you can save it as an PowerShell file and call it from the file. But here, since it is 4 or 5 lines, I'm directly calling it. I'll be putting this script onto the description section. You guys can reuse that. Let's wait for it to complete. I'm going to pause this video because it's going to take some time for this feature to get enabled. So once it is enabled, I will resume the video back. If you can see here, it is enabled now. name allowPolybaseExport, and it is enabled. So one thing to keep in mind is that this feature is not turned on by default for each of the Azure SQL managed instance. It is enabled only when a need arises, so it has to be done manually. Yep. So now what I'm going to do is, like, now that we have enabled this feature, let's check whether this feature is actually enabled or not. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to query the managed instance pg-mi-uks. I'm going to query sys.configurations, and then I'm going to check if allowPolybaseExport is set to 1 or not. So if we see here, the value when used is set to 1. So this ensures like allowPolybaseExport feature is enabled. We will create our storage account that will basically be accessed by your external table from Azure SQL Managed Instance using a managed identity. Yep. So let's go to the storage accounts, and then let's click on create here. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the resource group to PGMI-UKS. And once this is done, what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to give a storage account name here, and that would be DB Archival MI. Region, I would leave it to UK South. I will be going ahead with standard performance tier, and then I'll be using the locally redundant storage here. Yep, let's click on advanced. I will leave everything else as default here, and then I will go ahead to next, and here also I will leave everything else as a default. It will all be default here as well. It will be default here as well, and then let's click on review. And then let's click on create. Let's wait for the storage account to get created. It's going to take like 30 seconds. Let's wait for it to complete. It's going to take another 10-15 seconds. Let's wait for it to complete. Okay, so the deployment is completed. Let's go to the resource. So if you see here, we have created the storage account DB archive archival MI on UK South region. Yep. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the secrets. This time I'm not going to use the SAS tokens. Instead, what I'm going to do is, like, I'll be using a managed identity. Yeah. So if you see here, last time in the last video we utilized SAS secret, but this time we are not going to do that. So now what we'll do is, like, we'll create a container here, and let's name that container as table1. Yeah. And we know that this container name cannot have uppercase, so let me change it to small. So it is created. Let's click on create. Okay, so the container table1 is created now. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a managed identity. So let's click on create a resource and then search for managed identity. So we will be utilizing this user assigned managed identity. So let's click on create and then click on create user managed identity. I will utilize our resource group PGMI-UKS, and the name, let's get to the SSMS and then look for the database scope credential name, which is basically will be created as archival credential. So what we'll do is, like, we will create the managed identity using that name. Yeah. So we will name this user assigned managed identity as archival credential. So at least what I'll do is, like, whatever name that I'm going to use for this, I'll be creating with the same name. So let's click on next, and then review plus create, and then let's create it here. It's going to take like 5-10 seconds to complete, so let's wait for it to complete, and then we will take it from there. So the manage identity is created now. So what we'll do now, we will get to the storage account. Yep. And then I will have a look on the storage account one more time, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so the resource is completed now. Deployment is complete now. Let's go to the resource. Okay, so we have this archival credential managed identity created. So now what we'll do is like we will go to the storage account. Yep, let's go to this DB archival MI. And then what we'll do now is like we will go to the container here. And then in this container, we have this table one container created. So let's get there. And then now what we'll do is like we will go to this access control IAM. So let's go to this access control IAM, and then we will grant access to that managed identity here. Yep. So we will have to provide blob storage blob data contributor role. This is what we need to provide. So let's click on next, and then let's click on this managed identity, and then click on select members here. And then you have this user assign managed identity. So let's click on this archival credential that we have just created, and then let's click on next. And then I will not have any condition here, so I will go ahead and create it. Yep. So it is currently being added. This is completed now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this one, view access to this resource. Minimized everything else. Just keeping whatever I've added right now, which is archival credential. And then if you see here, this is added below storage blob data contributor. This is a very, very critical step as far as adding this managed identity to the storage account. This is the one that is going to let you create your external table successfully. And take us forward. So this is a very, very critical step, and this is something that we have to definitely do it. Yep. So now that we have added this, what we'll do now is like let's head on to our SSMS, and then what we'll do is like we will create the master key, and then the database scope credentials, external data source, external file format, and then the external table. Yep. Let's execute this, and then let's create the master key here. Please make sure you are providing a strong password. In my case, it's a lab machine, so I'm just using this password. So after this, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a database scoped credential called archival credential. The important thing here is like identity is managed identity. If you compare this with our previous video where we used the SAS token, we have another one after this called the secret, and we have provided that. But this one is little secured, wherein you don't give any secrets directly. Yep. So let's create this. And now what I'll do is like we will create this one, but we will have to ensure things are all right here. So what we'll do is like let's go to the storage account, and then let's click on the container, and then let's head on to this table one, and then let's go to this properties, and then copy this particular value here, and then head back to the SSMS. And then what we'll do is like we will just ensure that whatever information that we have put here is right. Yeah. So we are using external create external data source, archival data source. Location is basically ABS table one. So this is the one. So what I'll do is like I will change this caps T to small t and make it same as the container. So it is container at storage account. So in my case, the container is table one, and at the rate we will put our storage account details here. Yep. So let's replace it. and then let's go ahead and create it here. This is created, so let's delete that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an external file format. The format type would be Parquet, and data compression is this particular value. Let's go ahead and create it. This is also created. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create this external table. Let's make sure that let's change the location from export to table 1, just to identify things at a later stage. Yep. So what I'm doing is I'm creating the external table 1 external. Location is table 1, and I'm using the data source that we have created in archival data source, and the file format, which is archival file format. Yeah, let's go ahead and create it. So basically, if you look at the predicate from table 1, we are basically moving all the data that is less than 100 days, that is going to the storage account as Parquet files, and we'll be able to access those data from this external table. Yeah, let's go ahead and create it. It's taking time. I'm sure it should be completing fine. Let's wait for it to either error out or complete. I'm going to pause this video, and once either this command fails or completes successfully, I will resume the video back. It took close to 90 seconds, but it basically failed, and the error is message 15883. Access check for create or write operation against this storage account container and the location that we have provided failed with HR result 0x800700005. So this error code is basically refers to access denied. So that is the error. So there is some problem wherein we are not able to access that storage account from the managed instance. So it's access denied error. So what we'll do now, let's head back to our storage account and then see if we have added this particular managed identity properly or not. So we have the storage account here. Let's click on this access control IAM, and then let's look at this one more time. I can see here is the archival credential, which is an user assigned managed identity. It is added as a storage blob data contributor. So the error is coming from the managed instance. So what we'll do now is we will provide this managed instance as an app also. Let's add that on that access control for the storage account. Yep. So let's click on add here. So either you can do it from here, or you just click on this access control and then click on add role assignment, and then let's do the same thing. Let's select the storage blob data contributor, click on next. This time I will use this user group or service principal. Let's click on select members. So we know that our managed instance is PG hyphen MI hyphen UKS. So let's click on that and then click select. So we have this managed instance PG hyphen MI hyphen UKS. You guys can have a look on that. This is our managed instance PG MI UKS. So I'm adding that one here, PG -mi -uks, and type is app here. So let's click on next and then add it here. Let's wait for this to complete, and then we will look at the access to this resource and see if it is successfully added. Yeah. So let's wait for it. It's getting added. It is done now. So what we'll do, we will click on this view access to this. Then if you see here, we have this user assigned managed identity. archival credential added, and we have our managed instance, which is pg-mi-uk is added as well. So now what we'll do, we will try um, executing that command again, the create external table, and then see what happens. Let's head back to the SSMS, and then let's execute this create external table one more time after we added our managed instance as well to the storage account. So what I'm seeing here is like, okay, so we are getting this particular error, which basically tells like cannot create external table location already exists, location, this one. So that means like we have, there seems to be something within this particular storage account. Let's go in and then check if it is empty or not, because as I told you earlier, it has to be empty. If we have anything inside the container, then you will get that error. Yeah. So now if I go there and then go to this table one, what I'm able to see is like we have the files created. So maybe like we test, I might have created it before for a testing. So what I'll do now is like I will delete these. And then now what we'll do is like we will try creating the external table again. Let's create it. It is taking some time. Let's wait for, yeah, it has completed. So it has basically moved close to, not moved, copied close to 69,016 rows. So what we'll do now, let's do a select top one star from table one external. And if you can see here, this comes out very well. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to enable the actual execution plan, and then I will change this top one to top 10. Let's execute that. And if I execute it, what I'm able to see is like there is a remote scan, which basically tells us that the data that is coming here is basically from an resource that is outside of this managed instance. Just like you use a link server, you will be able to see a remote scan here. This particular external table is basically getting its data from the storage account, and that's the reason we are seeing this remote scan here. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.